Welcome back to cyberspace, where you can chase any face in the human race. And today we're going to be swapping off of Hanzo for now, and we're going to be focusing on Reinhardt.
Justice will be done.
And I'm going to show you in this coding tutorial how to make Rein a fire god.
Play of the game.
If you guys like my content, like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell to get more videos, update on new videos. I update every Friday, so it really helps me out. So let's get into it. And now, I've already have the multi-attack ability, and I'll kind of go into this, but this actual video is going to be more focused on custom cooldowns and how to use this multi-attack in custom cooldowns and why we need to use custom cooldowns in the first place. Well, first of all, if you guys can tell when I use Reinhardt here and I press interact and I hold the button, first of all, it doesn't feel really Overwatch based, as I would have to say. Hold the button, do spam fire, which may be interesting for your game. Maybe you guys want that. Maybe Reinhardt can always be able to fire strike. But for me, I like a bit of more class. I like some cooldowns with my infinite flames of fiery justice. So what we're going to do is first I'm going to show you how you first make this fiery justice. As always, we start with the ongoing each player and the button interact. We now, in this first action, get to the action list, which is a bit more complicated. The first action, we're going to set ability cooldown, event player, button ability 2 to 0. So what this first piece of code does is it first triggers the event player, which is pretty much anybody who is initiating the interact button at this current time. Then the button of ability 2 is going to initiate, which is Reinhardt's fire strike. And then that's going to set that specific cooldown to 0. That ability 2 cooldown to 0. So then once that happens, we can then press the ability 2 button, force the player to press the ability 2 button so that they shoot out a fire strike. And then we have to wait 0.497 seconds for it to fully shoot out the fire strike, and then immediately after we're going to cancel the primary action. So I'll just kind of explain this. So when you press the button, Reinhardt shoots out a big piece of fire to kill his enemies, or to engulf his enemies, and then what ends up happening is this wait condition waits for 0.497 seconds, exactly that. This is a very specific number because Reinhardt can't go any lower than this specific number or faster than this specific ability usage, and you're just gonna put ignore condition for now, because it doesn't really matter what happens for this. I would use abort when false. Actually, I'm going to change that right now. That's much better, so that the person always holds the interact button, and it reduces the amount of code you're going through if they're at this point. Cancel primary action then happens, which cancels Reinhardt's what I call recovery frame. So Reinhardt has a recovery frame where he can't do much after his fire strike. You don't want that, so you want him to be able to shoot his next fire strike immediately. You're going to cancel primary action, which basically gives you frame perfect, as they say in like Melee and Ultimate or whatever. It gives you frame perfect stuff, so you can then initiate the loop and you're all the way back up to 0, set that baby back to 0, and then boom, you get another fire strike. But this video is going to be more about custom cooldowns, so I'm actually going to turn off the multi-attack, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some custom cooldowns for Reinhardt. So this is the first basic custom cooldown. This is going to be the only time when I usually change conditions. But this condition is going to be when event player A is greater than 0, we're going to wait 1 second, and then we're going to ignore this condition, which ends up creating this loop where A starts at a certain number, maybe 9 or 10 or whatever you want to set it to, and then it's going to count down throughout the code. So let's say for this specific tutorial here, I've gone ahead and made when the player presses interact and they have a 0 on cooldown on the player variable A, then it's going to set it to 13 seconds, which is going to be 13. Well, he's going to set it to just 13, but since this is going to loop through and subtract that 13 every 1 second, it's basically 13 seconds, and then this 7 seconds for C, for this other custom cooldown, is how long the actual ability lasts for. So I said I want Reinhardt to shoot out fire for 7 seconds, and I want him to be on a cooldown of 13 seconds. So approximately he's going to be shooting out fire every 6 seconds if he's a really good Reinhardt, and if he's not really good Reinhardt, he's probably going to be using other abilities. So that's pretty much it for that. And the cooldown for C, for custom cooldown ability C, is exactly identical to A, except instead of A you replace it with C. So I'm just going to go over A and how it works. So when we set A over here, when we press the interact button and set A to 13, we then come up here and now A is 13, so this condition is now true. So it's going to initiate this wait condition. It's going to subtract A, and this is just going to loop every 1 second until 13 seconds is up, and then you can use the ability again. If you guys are going to change the amount of time that lasts for the specific ability, you're going to actually have to change the cooldown to be higher than how long the ability lasts, because then there's no really point of a cooldown, and you should just use the multi-attack variable to consistently shoot out fire. And then what we want to do is now we want to actually initiate the multi-attack by seeing that when our event player C is greater than 0, which this button press interact will initiate when the cooldown is completely nullified to 0, then C will occur, and the set ability cooldown, this is going to keep looping until C gets set to 0, which happens from this piece of code. This will eventually turn C to 0, so you don't have to worry about it breaking on you. And then you just, and then after that, the condition will loop. And I'll go through all of these specific ones because this is slightly different than the other multi-attack, but it is pretty much the same. I'll just go over it again. That event player C, when it's greater than 0, which is in this code, it's specifically 7. It's 7. When it's 7, the ability cooldown is going to shoot out a fire strike, so approximately 0.5 seconds. That's approximately 0.5 seconds. So it's 14 fire strikes you're going to get out of this. Approximately. So we set Rein's cooldown to 0. He presses the button of fire strike. He waits around 0.5 seconds. He cancels his ability, and then this continues to loop until C no longer is greater than 0, which is when it hits 0, and then that's pretty much it. And I know you guys are probably wondering what's this last part for. This last part is just a HUD text for event player A and event player C. I'm going to just click into this because it's a lot. So in the header I had event player A, and in the subheader I have event player C. And pretty much the only thing that changes in this is I set the header color to white and the subheader color to green, so that now Reinhardt has a way of telling how long his fire strike will last and how long he has to recharge it. So let's just restart the match real quick here. And then I can show you the ability, the amazing ability of Reinhardt Assistant Flame. So if you look in the top left up there, it's on 0. So when I press interact, it sets it to 13. It starts counting down. I spam my thing for exactly as much as that small green number is, and now I have to wait for the entire 13 seconds for variable A to come down to now be able to spam it again and shoot my awesome laser 5. That's pretty much it for this Overwatch 1 code workshop. If you really like this, please comment down below. Tell me if I should do something else, or if I should focus something else on Overwatch that you'd like to see. I'm all ears for to have any suggestions. So that's pretty much it. And if you guys have any questions, just comment down below. I'll pretty much answer them. This is Cyberspace out.